Opening Extractives is a global program designed to support national governments and stakeholders to deepen implementation of beneficial ownership transparency reforms in many countries. Beneficial ownership transparency remains new and a very novel, difficult, and very challenging territory for many EITI implementing countries, despite the support its implementation has received since 2016. Let me start by commending our parent organization, the Global Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, and its partners, the Open Ownership, for initiating this program and providing hands-on technical assistance to make ownership and open data accessible and user-friendly. Our gratitude also goes to other participating countries, bilateral and multilateral organizations, especially the PHP Foundation, for their commitment and financial support to the implementation of opening extractives in about 9 resource-rich countries, and the ability to commit up to $7.2 million for this project in these countries for the next 5 years. It's no longer news that hidden corporate ownership poses real and present danger to our collective development aspirations, especially in poor developing countries. What is news and most gratifying is that governments and organizations in both developed and developing nations are coming together to strategize on how best to lift the veil of secrecy over the ownerships of extractive assets in most of the resource-rich countries. I'm glad to note that beneficial ownership transparency is now a global norm, and Nigeria cannot afford to be left behind, given our history and experiences in the fight against corruption, insecurity, terrorism financing, money laundering, and illicit financial flows that have become a bane of our society. Just recently, the Panorama Papers made series of disclosures on the private transactions and assets of prominent people across the globe, including Nigerians, concealed in offshore tax havens in some developed countries. These revelations remind us of the dangers that are associated with ownership transparency, ownership secrecy. Let me then state at this juncture that the selection of Nigeria as one of the 9 countries that are currently implementing opening extractives is a direct acknowledgement and recognition of President Muhammad Buhari's administration to beneficial ownership transparency reforms, as well as commitment to the EITI and the progress we have so far recorded. As you are aware, Nigeria joined the League of Countries with legal framework on implementation of beneficial ownership when Mr. President gave assent to the amended Company and Allied Matters Act in 2020. The Act introduced mandatory disclosures of persons with significant control of the company in the register of beneficial owners. Also, the President signed the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA, this year. The Act also requires Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, whose CEO is here, to, as a matter of priority, ensure disclosures of beneficial owners of licenses, leases, permits, and keep sale in a public available register. I therefore wish to seize this opportunity to thank Mr. President for appointing NEITI into the Petroleum Industry Act PIA Committee, Steering Committee. By this move, NEITI is now in a position to work with 9 other key relevant government agencies to develop a framework, guidelines, regulations, and roadmap for the implementation of the new law. And our specific task in this team is to ensure strict adherence to the global EITI principles standards and requirements.